welcome to
Mademoiselle.
welcome to the 18th episode of Drunk Doctor Who: Heroes and Villains. It is August 23rd of 2021.
Still.
And we're talking about.
I haven't talked to him tomorrow yet.
You didn't write Zoe's name up there anywhere.
Companion.
Oh, there you go. Hey, Zoe. All right.
You do it in the other marker.
Yeah. I realized the one marker was running out. All right.
It's like a soft
So
grade.
she was a companion from 427 of 68 to 621 of 69, from Wheel in Space to the War Games. She is the second Doctor's, including Overlap, fifth companion, i.e. Overlap being Ben and Polly.
She is our mathematician.
She is a math whiz, and she blows people away with that.
One of the few people sharper than the Doctor on
something.
2 occasions.
Yeah.
Checks his math.
Well, there's another math whiz that comes along later, and he is not quite as beloved as Zoe because he's a bit more of a
Mary Sue.
gullible ditz. No, well, he's really smart in math, but he's really gullible and
Not street smart.
Huh?
Not street smart.
Yes, not street
capable.
smart. Yeah. In other things, and we're literally about to finish his run on the main show. But we're getting there. Anyway, but his name is Adric.
Adric?
Adric. Yeah. And he has a very
That's a
interesting
cool name.
first for the show. Well, I'm not gonna spoilers.
Okay.
Spoilers
What do you call the accent mark over Zoe's E?
in umlaut.
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 They spell it like that in the subtitles, but like nowhere else. I don't think it's like that in the credits. But I always wrote it like that because that's what showed up in the subtitles.
Yeah, we watch it with the subtitles.
But it's not in the credits or anything. So
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Zoe is an interesting companion.
What's Zoe short for?
It's not Zoe. That's the name.
Why does it have an umlaut?
Zoe's an interesting companion because I believe she is the first long-running companion in Doctor
50
Who
episodes.
from the future.
From the future.
Yeah, all the other companions
You're from the
are
past or
the present day or the past.
present? I noticed that.
Ooh, no, wait, Steven. Actually, I take that back.
Yeah,
Steven was
Steven
from
was
the
from the-
future. Never mind, scratch that. All right, she's the first female companion from the future.
She stowed away. What were the robots called from Steven's cereal that fought the
Oh,
Daleks?
not Dominators. I forget what they're called. They were just weird.
Construction robots.
Yeah.
One of my favorite robot designs.
Love
They get into
Steven,
a
though.
fist fight
He's
with the
good.
Daleks. A plunger fight. When he's stowed away. So he is our first future companion. So he's our second future companion. Well, there's Sarah Kingdom, but she's not really. She stuck around
No,
for
like I said, long term.
long term.
Sarah Companion was very short-lived as a companion, like about 6 episodes, all in the same serial. Dude.
What's our next future companion? K9? When does he come in?
Oh. Okay, so Third Doctor companions, they're all contemporary with the show, so correct. None of them are futuristic, but Zoe's futuristic. And then Fourth Doctor, contemporary.
We haven't had a non-Earth companion yet.
Okay,
Because even Steven and Zoe are from Earth, but
Right.
in the future.
contemporary Earth, contemporary Time Lord.
Oh, that's true. We had his niece, granddaughter.
His granddaughter's a Time Lord, but
She's
then we have a contemporary Time Lord with him. She regenerates.
Cool.
Then we have let's see. Then we have she's kind of primitive, but I think she's a contemporary in time. Just her culture's a little more primitive.
Like a.
Let's see.
Agador.
Oh, actually, she comes before the Time Lord. So it goes Sarah Jane, Leela, Romana.
Leela from Futurama.
I think she's named after her. Yeah. And then we do get an alternate universe. Adric.
Oh,
You do get that, yeah.
cool.
Um,
So we start traveling through time and space and other dimensions.
Yes.
Relative dimensions.
The Fifth Doctor, which is the one we're watching on the main show now, the one with the celery. Celery, yeah. I get stickers for Capaldi.
Label them for me.
And Hurt and I guess Whitaker. But anyway, so...
for the ones that aren't on here.
Yeah.
Get you a new poster. Move this one over.
Anyway.
Or just Photoshop them in there.
Okay. So, you know how most companions are contemporary Earth types.
Yes.
Or in the case of a bit with the Second Doctor, a couple of past Earth types. Historicals, and then Zoe's futuristic. Anyway, he's interesting because at one time, he has K9 as a companion. He has, who's a robot dog. He has.
Doesn't they, or does he get him from the future?
No, he shows up just in a particular deal. But he's a futuristic dog that he gets from the future. But anyway, so, and he briefly has him as a companion.
That house pet you don't have to clean up after.
Yeah.
Except once a month for his oil change.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, and he also has Chameleon as a companion.
Okay.
Chameleon is a shape-shifting android.
Is Chameleon a chameleon, like the villain Chameleon?
No. This is with a K.
Oh, okay.
Not a CH, with a K. He has Turlo, who is a futuristic companion from another planet, not Earth. Tegan, who is another companion from another planet. At one point, Adric, who's from E-Space, and all that's going on, and there's only like one single contemporary Earth companion. And
so he has all those companions.
Right, but they're different. Very briefly. Well, not very briefly. Adric leaves before Turlo shows up or Chameleon shows up and that kind of stuff.
What's the most companions we have at one time on the show?
Turlo, hold on. Chameleon, I think, shows up while Adric's still there, but Turlo isn't. Turlo's kind of a replacement for Adric.
Okay.
So, okay.
So what's the most companions the Doctor has at one time?
Are we talking normally or for a special?
Normally.
Normally, the most you're gonna have is 4.
That's a lot of companions.
It is.
That's like 5 main characters.
Yeah. Right now on the main show, he's got 3 companions. Where we are in the 5th Doctor. But then you have something like Chameleon show up and stuff like that, and so briefly but generally speaking, the most he's ever gonna have is 3.
Okay.
3.
I feel like that's normal.
Yeah, 3. 1 to 3 is normal. There are sections of the time frame, like the beginning, where 3 was normal with Barbara, Ian, and Susan.
What's the longest he goes without a companion?
1 serial.
A whole serial?
1 serial. And that is The Deadly Assassin. And then they decided, you've got nobody to explain things to. You have nobody to talk with. We need to give you a companion again.
Does he just sit there in exposition for a bit?
Sometimes, and he talks to his mentors, because it's set on Gallifrey, the Time Lord Society. So he does interact with people, but he doesn't have anyone to really explain things to, you know?
For us, the audience.
Right, he was like, Tom Baker was like, I don't need a companion. Turns out he needs a companion. And then the series 11 and 12, the 2 most recent series, the Doctor has 3 companions.
Okay.
Yeah. But most of the time it's 1 to 3. But then 1, 2, or 3. And then every once in a while they'll have the specials.
Yes. And
like the 20th anniversary special.
Well, one show up.
Well, there's 5 Doctors and like 6 companions. Because each Doctor has their own companion. Susan comes back. The first Doctor's dead. So the first Doctor's played by a different actor. But the first Doctor has Susan with him, same actress. The second Doctor has the Brigadier with him. The third Doctor has Sarah Jane with him. The fourth Doctor has Romana too, even though they're edited in. And then the fifth Doctor has all of his current companions at the time. So it's just this big smorgasbord. And the end of the second Doctor's the fourth series, not his specials, but the fourth series, you end up with like 7 or 8 companions, because it brings several elements of the show all together at once.
Yeah.
So you've got the show Torchwood, and those people show up.
So the other shows
like interlinked. They're all interlinked. Which is why we have to watch the stuff interlinked.
Cool.
So Torchwood shows up. The Sarah Jane Adventures show up. And Captain Jack is a companion, and Sarah Jane's a companion, and K-9's a companion. And then you have all of his, several of his companions throughout his 3 seasons, his 3 series, who are all there, including like Mickey, Rose, Donna, what is her name? Oh, I can't think of her name. The lady from Series 3. Oh, okay. But anyway, there's this giant interwoven culmination that happens all at once at the end of that series. So there's a bunch of companions in the TARDIS.
Those are the really cool Doctor Who moments that you kind of live for, like this, the anniversary specials,
or the big culminations of things. Yeah.
So you like watching the subsidiaries to see them tie in. Well, that's a big thing now. With
just like Marvel and stuff.
The Marvel universe. So for the new Spider-Man movie coming out, to really know what's going on, you're gonna have to watch the Loki show and WandaVision.
Yeah, I'm not doing
those ties. See,
Martha Jones. I can't think of her name.
See, I'm not doing that either. But like even with the Age of Ultron, you had to watch the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to know where all the other superheroes came from.
Well, see, that's why I gave up. I watched all the Marvel stuff until the Avengers. I'm like, cool, okay. Then they had some other movies, and I'm like, okay, Avengers 2, I'm gonna watch it. And I'm like, well, who's that guy? Well, you need to see Thor 2. Well, who's that guy? You need to watch Iron Man 4 or whatever. And it's like, well, who's this guy? You had to watch this TV show. And I'm like, I give up. I don't want to watch all this stuff to you in one story.
It's too oversaturated. But not the Doctor Who stuff. Like, it's not too oversaturated to where you're just like, I don't want to watch this show.
Right. Well, that's 60 years, you know. Plus, I want one medium. Give me one medium. If it's a TV show, I want all the TV.
You don't want to go to like comic books.
No, I that's why I ignore the audio stuff for Doctor Who. I ignore the comic books. I ignore the novels.
Are those all canon?
Nothing has ever been declared non-canon by the BBC except that one. If you consider it canon, it's canon for you. I ignore it because I don't want to have to saturate myself in 4 or 5 different media in order to follow the story. And just give me one thing. If it's Star Wars, it's going to be movies. I don't care about the TV shows. I don't care about the books. I don't care about the comic books. Doctor Who, TV show. That it started out as a TV show. I want the TV show. Don't care about all that extra crap.
They have like movies too, right? You watch the Doctor Who movies?
Okay. The 2 Doctor Who movies, the Peter Cushing films, I watched them, but A, there's only 2 of them. B, while you could argue that they're canon, they're not canon. They're just redos of the serials, the TV shows.
Why don't they do Doctor Who movies?
They did the first one, and it did well. They doubled the budget for the second one, and it didn't do as well. Didn't justify the doubling of the budget. They were going to do the third one, which was going to be the Daleks' Master Plan. But they canceled it after the second one.
So all of this could be like referencing the comic books and the books and the radio specials, and you wouldn't know.
I specifically know of one big instance, which is Paul McGann's, the 8th Doctor, his short little episode, Night of the Doctor, where he regenerates into the War Doctor to close that gap.
Right.
Okay. He mentions and canonizes several companions from the audio stuff that were not on the TV show because he only had the one episode. Technically, him mentioning them canonizes them.
Okay.
but I don't care.
You're still not gonna look at the.
I'm not gonna listen to all these audios to follow him. If it starts out as a TV show, I want the TV show. If it starts out as movies, I want the movies. I don't want to have to go into 5 different media to follow stuff.
Okay.
That's too much story. I'm good with the one medium.
So when they come out with the Terraforming Mars audiobook, you're not gonna listen to it?
Why would you listen? No. All right.
I know they have books for Minecraft and stuff.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. I did. Okay.
Written by Mel Brooks' brother.
Yeah. No, Mel Brooks' son.
Son. What's his name?
Max Brooks or whatever.
Yeah, Max Brooks.
Now, to be fair, every once in a while I will cross over and just check out something like, I love the role-playing game Paranoia.
Yeah.
There were a couple of novels for Paranoia that were released.
There you go.
Are
they good?
Title deleted for security reasons was one of them. And
do you know what the title was?
No, it was called Title Deleted for Security Reasons.
Oh, so they deleted it.
Yeah, and
that makes it hard to find, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's a hard to find novel anyway. And the other one, I forget what the other one was called.
That's like a SCP
thing.
But
they were good novels. They were actually really fun, and they fit the world of Paranoia.
Cool. Do you ever read the World of Warcraft books?
No.
You just don't like jump in mediums?
No, I prefer, if I love something one medium, I'm going to stick with that medium. I don't want to have to follow 1,000 different things to get the story. But if I'm committed to one, I will commit to it. I just no, don't try to sell me comic books. Don't try to sell me
T-shirts at the
audios
concert.
And stuff, yeah. No, you gotta have a t-shirt for that.
Okay. That's a different medium.
It's usually an extra large, actually.
Okay.
Alright. I'm drinking Rumpelmints. It's
that sounds like a dirty word.
It does. It is peppermint schnapps. And you are drinking
Red's Apple Ale. I forgot we started a new episode, so we have to do the intro stuff again.
Yeah. Alright. So Zoe, anyway. Okay, okay. But yeah, so you get the regeneration between the first 7 Doctors.
Yes.
And then for the TV movie, they brought back the 7th Doctor and started it with him.
Okay.
He's in it for about 5-7 minutes, 10-15 minutes, and then he dies horribly. Gets gunned down in LA by a gang. And then when they go to...
McGann does?
McCoy, above him.
Oh.
He gets gunned down in LA by a gang. And then there's this really, really gorgeous medical doctor, who becomes the Doctor's companion. And she's working on him.
Oh, female.
Yeah, female. She's working on him. And she's pulling out the bullets. And she's trying to fix his heart, but she doesn't realize he has 2 hearts. Right. So because she doesn't know he has 2 hearts, she makes the mistake and ends up killing him. And then he regenerates in the mortuary. Okay, and then we go to McGann. So they brought back the 7th Doctor, continued. It was an absolute continuation. The gap was, as we were talking about last episode, they did.
It's the clothing store. The gap.
Yeah. Okay. No. But when they went from 8 to 9. They weren't sure it was going to be a revival at the beginning. It was going to be a revival or a redo. What's it called?
Reboot.
Or reboot. Yeah. They weren't sure it was going to be a revival or reboot, and so they didn't bring back McGann to regenerate into Eccleston. They should have, but they didn't. So. That's the only spot where we don't have a direct regeneration.
The confidence in the revival.
Well, I think at first were not sure how they were going to play their hand.
Just the one season was paid for.
Well, no. They weren't sure if they were going to directly tie it in or claim it was a reboot. But like I said, the fans demanded it, and so they said it was a revival. Yes. But so you had this one gap where there wasn't regeneration. The 50th anniversary, what they did was when Eccleston didn't want to come back because they wrote the 3 modern Doctors, right? They wrote a part for Eccleston, a part for Tennant, and a part for Smith. But Eccleston didn't want to come back. So they ended up writing they ended up creating a new doctor, the War Doctor, and they closed that gap by having Night of the Doctor, where McGann regenerates into the War Doctor, and then later on, the War Doctor regenerates into Eccleston.
I'm trying to keep up.
So sometimes you'll hear the War Doctor called the 8.5 Doctor. But the War Doctor is his official title.
Okay. But he doesn't count as a regeneration?
He does count as regeneration, but not as... He's not numbered as a doctor.
Oh, okay.
But he does count as a regeneration. And the reason...
So we kind of wasted 2 regenerations with McGann and the War Doctor.
Well, because they weren't there long.
Yeah.
But eventually...
But then they just reboot the whole number of regenerations thing.
They do. Clara convinces the Time Lords to grant a new cycle of regenerations to the Doctor. I'm ignoring the Timeless Children crap for now. And so he gets a whole new set of regenerations, which has precedence in the show.
Right. Okay.
With the Master, because the Time Lords gave the Master a whole new set of regenerations to help do stuff for them.
So, do we know as much about the Master's regenerations?
No. Not because we don't follow the Master, we follow the Doctor. So
the last time we saw the Master could have been his last generation?
In theory, yes. But turns out to be no.
Oh.
You think his last regeneration is when he shows up actually in the Deadly Assassin. It only looks burnt to a crisp, but then he gets a new set and continues.
Like Hugo Weaving in V for Vendetta?
Kind of, but worse. Absolutely worse. But I'm really hoping the Timeless Child crap is not despite the Master's telling that to the Doctor, I hope it's lies that he's the Timeless Child, because that would be infinitely better for the show.
You know, when Darth Vader told Luke that he is his father, that they had to have it reiterated by Yoda, because no one in the audience believed that. They're like, oh, Vader's lying, right? Because he's the bad guy. No one's split. So then George Lucas was like, well, we'll have Yoda tell Luke that, yes, that is his father, so everyone will know it's coming from the good guy Yoda, and then it'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, we can believe it. He had to
I remember seeing it in the theater when it was in first run, and yeah, that was kind of a shock. But anyway, okay, Zoe.
What's your favorite Zoe serial header?
Alright, Zoe is smart, she's capable, she's really short, really cute, especially when she shows up in the cat suit and the mine robber. She is a great, interesting female character, just fantastic. And she holds her own, shows up the Doctor a few times, and Jamie a few times too. It's really nice.
She's one of those fiercely independent characters, because, you know, from looks and size, and you kind of put them in a box and they jump right out of that box.
In her case, yeah. And she's one, unlike Victoria, she's a drastic shift from Victoria. She's very much not a damsel in distress. Whereas Victoria, for at least the first half of her run, was many times. Okay, she was there for Wheel in Space, when she shows up. The Dominators, the weird robot one. The weird robots and the big guys with the big shoulder pads. The Mind Robber, which was good. The Invasion, which, became, the Crotons.
What you put in your salad?
No, the Seeds of Death, the Space Pirates, and the War Games. The best of all those is the War Games. Although
so she's in from the Wheel in
Space to the War Games. Yeah, the Mind Robber was also really, really good. But you got to give it to the War Games on that.
That's your favorite cereal?
I'm kind of torn between the two, but if I have to pick one, okay, My favorite might be the Mind Robber, while admitting that the War Games is better.
That's the one
that
with
makes
the
sense.
literature stuff?
Yeah, the literature stuff, and the guy that wanted the Doctor to take over because he was old and tired. And Jamie's face got rearranged because he was sick.
He was out for a season.
Yeah.
We had Gulliver, but he only spoke in lines in the book.
Yeah.
That's going to be one of my favorite serials because...
But you voted for the War Games over the Mind Robber.
Well, for Zoe,
for season 6
specifically.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite serials, just thematically, or what's the word? Thematic. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So we have the Doctor who left the TARDIS, right, and then he's. No, they crash landed and he passed out, right?
I don't know.
It was Zoe and Jamie that left the TARDIS first or second?
Well, they left the TARDIS first, but it ends up in this weird void of nothing, sort of like a bubble in space.
Purgatory, and they exit the TARDIS. Jamie and Zoe, they have the black, onesies on.
Yeah, no. I've got to switch to the 4th Doctor.
Oh,
yeah, I just realized that.
They're still on.
Well, this is the 3rd Doctor here. Yeah, you got to go to Tom Baker. No, keep talking.
So anyway, you have Jamie and Zoe. They come out of the TARDIS. They're in the black onesies and the white purgatory, and you have the Mind Robber trying to dominate their mind control them, and they're struggling against it. And as you see them lose that fight, it makes the cuts, and then they're wearing the white onesie jumpsuit, the white jumpsuit. And then they're blending into this white background in the purgatory. And it's kind of poetically, representative of how their characters in this book now, they're not their own. They're not standing out, not jumping out on the page anymore, but they're losing their sense of self and they're being mind controlled. And now they're just other characters on the page of this Mind Robber. So that's when they kind of struggle. I don't know. I thought it was cool. I thought it was subtle. I thought it was poetic.
Wait, so are you going to say that the Mind Robber is more of a favorite for Zoe than the War Games, but you think the War Games is a better serial?
I like the War Games.
Okay.
It's a 50-50. 51-49.
Okay. I can live with that. Yeah, seriously. All right. So
pretty good.
Okay. Any other questions about Zoe? Or any questions about Zoe?
You ever see Zoe again?
Nope. Jamie comes back a time or two. But besides Jamie, for the 2nd Doctor, of course the Brigadier. The 2nd Doctor, the Brigadier. Oh my gosh.
Did we do the Brigadier? We did the Brigadier.
No, hold on. The Brigadier shows up originally with the 2nd Doctor. But he doesn't really become a companion until the 3rd Doctor.
Right.
Okay, so with the exception, I'm not going to count him amongst one of the 2nd Doctors.
The Web of Fear.
Yeah. Well, okay. So essentially, the 2nd Doctor had 6 companions if you include the Brigadier, and the Brigadier and Jamie come back. The other 4 do not. Okay. Ben and Polly do not. Zoe does not.
The Brigadier
and Victoria does not.
The Brigadier in the anniversary special shows up with Troughton instead of Pertwee, right?
Yeah. So what happened was
because Jamie shows up with.
Okay. They originally wanted to have the 1st Doctor with Susan, the 2nd Doctor with Jamie, the 3rd Doctor with the Brigadier, because he's most closely associated with him, the 4th Doctor with Sarah Jane, and the 5th Doctor with his current companions. But the 4th Doctor, who just recently left the show, didn't want to come back. As a result...
So they use the pre-existing footage.
They use a pre-existing footage of the one episode that wasn't finished, that was never aired at the time, shot up, and they put him in, which meant he was in with Romana, because she was a companion in that one, which meant that they had to push Sarah Jane back to the 3rd Doctor, where she started, which meant they had to push the Brigadier back to the 2nd Doctor, where he started. They're a little off kilter, but it still works because that's where they started. And I think Jamie just kind of got hosed, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I've seen it. He does show up again, however, in the Two Doctors, and I think he shows up as kind of a phantom thing in the last serial of the Fifth Doctor.
Interesting.
But I also would have to double check the anniversary because he might be in there and I might have forgotten. It's been a while since I've seen it. We're coming up on it on the main show.
Okay.
All right. But yeah, everything kind of got shifted when Tom Baker didn't want to return.
I wonder why they didn't want to return.
He had done 7 years in the role and only been gone like a year and a half. He was like, I've done my time, you know. The same way. Now Eccleston didn't want to return for the 50th because there was a lot of acrimony between him and the production staff. So now he's back doing the audio stuff and will come back for a return possibly in the 60th.
You think if anyone had a good excuse not to come back, it'd be Hartnell, but even he came back, so...
Well, he was dead, but...
No, he came back for the Three Doctors, he's still alive.
He's still alive for the Three Doctors.
But he would have had an excuse not to come back.
Yeah, but by the Five Doctors, he was dead and replaced with another actor.
They didn't want to replace the other Tom Baker with a different actor?
No, not when he was alive. No. The only Doctor to be replaced by another actor thus far has been the First Doctor. And the precedence for that is the Five Doctors. And he has been replaced by a couple, 2, 3 different actors so that they can represent the First Doctor. You could argue no other Doctor is as important. You could also argue that, especially while they're alive, let's not do that now. This is discounting the incredibly brief images during the 50th anniversary. When they do have little snippets of other Doctors, and I think a couple of them are represented by basic body doubles. We're talking about actual acting, speaking lines. And then at the end of the 50th anniversary, too, right? A bunch of them are represented by waxworks. What was it?
I said Troughton passed away too, right?
Yeah, the first 3 Doctors passed away in order. Yeah.
So we still have Tom Baker.
Yeah, we still have Tom Baker. He's like 87. And he's still around, and he's shown up. He showed up in Shada at his current age, and he showed up in the 50th anniversary episode at his current age.
They ever say, you don't look like you're when you regenerated?
Well, he, to be fair, several Doctors are shown later on, and they ignore the age differential. It's simply ignored because if we...
Like Jamie too, right?
Right. If we have the same actor, awesome, we have the same actor, everybody just ignore the age difference, and they do, and that's respectful because they got the same actor. It's like, great, we're just not going to worry about it. Alright. Any other questions about Zoe?
Zoe!
Alright, anyway, Zoe leaves and her mind gets wiped and she gets sent back to the Wheel in Space.
Sad. That's probably why we never see her again.
True. Although Jamie we see again.
But that's like when he was in the past.
Right, when he was with the second Doctor. The Two Doctors kind of gets lifted out of that. In theory, at some weird point when they're between Victoria and Zoe. Between them, although there's not really space between them.
Isn't it a weird thing where the anniversary specials, they say something about when the Doctors are plucked out of their time zone that they forget what they did during the anniversary?
When they go back, yeah. That has been stated, and in the Three Doctors very specifically.
And it's against the Time Lord laws to...
Right, and it's stated in other places when they do that. Like at the very end of the 50th anniversary, John Hurt's going to go back, and he believes for the longest time that he killed Gallifrey, but he actually ended up saving it. But as he's regenerating, he goes, I'm probably not going to remember any of this, am I? And then he regenerates, so then he thinks he destroyed Gallifrey. Yeah, but that provides a lot of angst and drama for the first 2 Doctors. Probably for 9 and 10 especially. The first 2 Doctors of the modern era. All right. Hopefully next week we'll do the Ark in Space, now that we've done some heroes and villains. Space. And we'll catch y'all next week, guys. Thank you so much
for joining us.
Yeah, the least watched show on the internet.
What are you drinking?
Oh, it's a little bit of Captain
Cracker
Morgan
Barrel
spice
syrup?
rum.
Cracker Barrel syrup.
No, Captain Morgan spice rum. Just one of those little.
Do 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 do.